evening, folks, and welcome to Where's Your Heart Live, where we champion vulnerability as a core human strength. Things are going to be a little different today, and I'm going to bring my co-host for today in. Let's see. Here we go. How do I do this? We did it! Oh, and the first thing he does is remind me that we still don't have a laugh track.
I have arrived.
Thank God. So, folks, Teresa is moving today. She's settling into a new house. She got all that figured out. For those of you looking after her, thank you for all the help getting her moved and settled. And Torian is he is in the wind these days, and we just gotta. When we get to see him, we enjoy it. But TL graciously agreed to not only bring us the topic today, but sit in as a co-host at the very last minute. So thank you, TL, for everything. TL's the host of the Frontline Stereo podcast. If you haven't listened, go check it out. Their show last week about Judas and the Black Messiah, the movie that came out recently. That's a great place to start. He and I were just talking about it. I'm sure we'll get into it a little bit today. But TL, thank you for being here, my friend.
Oh man, no problem. You know, me and you, we go back now.
Is that true now?
We've shared a few experiences, so it feels good to be on this side of the show as opposed to being just a guest who's almost going to cry talking about fatherhood.
Oh,
and
amen.
So you remember we did that?
Oh yeah, hell yeah.
And then we jumped out on your podcast and had the whole conversation about Ibram X's book,
How to Be an Anti-Racist.
Anti-Racist. So we have a few experiences that we've shared together.
Indeed. And one as a guest on your show too. That was fun because
look, we keep doing this, don't we?
Yeah, we do. It
always ends up being me and you too.
It's a good dance. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I can't complain over it.
I'll take it. All right. So, business. Let's see. Please like the video, share the video, subscribe to us on YouTube. We're still only a few subscribers away from being able to actually have Where's Your Heart Live in the name of our YouTube ID stuff. So please do that. We really appreciate it. And hit that little alarm bell so you know when we've gone live, because otherwise you'll miss out on wonderfulness like this. So we have all that ready to go. Let's dive right in. You ready, man?
Look, I was born ready.
Yeah, I saw it. You had the clap track up.
I was born ready. I've been waiting to do this with. I've been so waiting to do this with you guys. It's like I'm gracious. I have gratitude.
Well, go.
I knew you was going to throw it to me because every week when I watch you guys come on and you was like, I thought I was going to be able to skip this one. Teresa, I don't think I should let him skip this one. I think he should go first.
Oh, all right. Well, okay. So I do. Honestly, this has been a rough. All right. So here's why I wanted to skip it. Honestly, I've been in a rough spot the last couple of weeks emotionally. Just I think borderline depression. I've been dieting really hard to get back to a weight that I can wrestle at for Brazilian jiu-jitsu. And 1,500 calories a day, I think, takes a toll, and the lack of sleep from the new puppy takes a toll, and the shoulder rehab has taken a toll. So all that to say, my gratitude today is for this. From the second TL jumped into the studio with me, it was just like, all right, it's going to be okay, because even if I fuck up all the buttons, TL and I are still going to have a great conversation, and people are going to enjoy it. So
we always do.
Yeah. So honestly, that's my gratitude is this. It's been rough, and I'm just really grateful to have this space and time with you, my friend.
I appreciate that. Well, look, let me get set. Let me get set up.
What do you got? Okay.
I got set up. I'm feeling the whole gratitude thing.
Okay. Go.
I'm gracious because it's been just like you said, it's been tough. It's been a tough year.
Yeah.
2020 was a pretty tough year. 2021 even started out tough. It didn't ease up on us. It got tougher. But I was just speaking with my wife over this past weekend, talking about how good a place that I'm in, and I'm very gracious. I'm at the point where I'm loving my life right now, and I know there's people who are going through some really tough times. So I'm just gracious for my health, because I have not contracted the virus, or while many people are contracting the virus, I've had some wonderful doctors and nurses and health people to come and speak with me on my show to tell me and keep me educated about the virus. I'm gracious for that. And I'm also gracious just for the position that I'm able to be in, because I could be one of those people in one of those tough spots. Yep. And I could be on the radio and talk to you guys on podcasts. And I mean, I almost feel like I have a little bit of survivor's remorse. But yeah, yes. I'm gracious for these things.
Hell yeah. Yeah. Like, I think that's the worst part, is like right now I am in the funk phase. But like I've spent a lot of the last year in that, like, oh shit, man, this was an excuse to get really creative and do some shit I hadn't done before, you know? And it's felt good. And
you finished that book up yet?
I'm working on it with my editors now. Like, I did the first draft, and so yeah, that part's good. And there's some holes. They're like, we need more here. We need more here. So now I'm like back to the drawing board. So I'm diving back in. More vulnerability. Like it was really interesting to me. Cause that's 100% of the critique so far is, I need you to get more personal, more precise. I need you to tell me what color the tears were. Like, go all the way into it.
Gotta be raw.
It is. And that's it's really hard to do. And now I'm in a funk too, so it's even harder. So I'm like,
you don't be in a funk, dude. I can't. I don't know if I know Royce in the funk. I see the smiling face every Monday. I've been with this smiling face. Even your voice alone, just over when we just did audio, it cheers me. That's how we turned a 1 hour podcast into an 8 episode situation. We're supposed to talk for 1 hour and we end up on the phone for 3 hours.
Well, and you renamed how I described it to potential guests. I said it's more of a shared experience. You named that. Like,
I'll take it.
Well, and it actually, we had a guest on recently on this show that I approached and said, you know, would you be up for reading a book with me? And she's like, I gotta be honest, I just am sick of talking to white guys about this shit. And it was just this brutally honest. I was like, yes, I need you to come on my show and say that, you know? And I think we're working on it, but like what I had to hold in my head, cause she's like, why the hell would I do this? Like, this is going to hurt, you know? And I agree with her. Like, it is not, my show is specifically about race and gender and those kinds of things. So, so that's going to hurt for a black woman to come on that show and talk about those things again with a fucking white guy and explain shit again to a fucking white guy. But it was, number one, so refreshing to have her actually just write out and say it.
Tell you.
And second off, for her to say, what do I get out of it? And I was like, in my head, I was like, you know what? By the time TL and I were done, I know he got something out of it. I know that was genuine joy for both of us. So that's what I shared with her. And that's when she was like, oh, maybe, well, let's pick a book. So I got to say thank you to you.
Well, whoever that is doing this show with Royce, pick a book. It is a genuine experience. I enjoyed every bit of it, and I would do it again, hands down.
That's good, because we're going to talk.
Well, you know, hold on. I'm
all right.
So you coaxed me into reading a book with you. And yep. I think this is an appropriate time. Yes, I am the host of my own podcast and an Orlando radio personality. And I happen to have a Goodreads book list. That Goodreads book list can be found by simply typing in under your list, Frontline Stereo Podcast. And we are on our next book of the month, which is Stony the Road. And if you want to read Stony the Road with me and then come back and talk about Stony the Road, we absolutely can do that. I'm saying here live in front of all of your audience members on YouTube, Facebook, and any streaming services that you guys stream through. Boom, there it is.
We're going to merge everything.
We can package that boy up because it's coming. I just got finished reading. Well, I'm not finished. I'm going to finish up this week reading The Black Bourgeoisie. I wanted to know who in the Black community, where's this line of the boule or the bourgeoisie, or how's this middle class really shape up? And I quite frankly, it shapes up. It's a tough read, and the reason why I call it a tough read is because you find yourself sitting in a position that you didn't know you sat in before.
Oh boy, are you saying you're the bourgeoisie?
I might, like, I don't. Okay, this is the show where we champion vulnerability, right?
It's true. It's true.
I might be a part of the laissez-faire, sir. And I'm still having a struggle saying that, because where I come from, I mean, like, I am from Chicago. I am from the west side of Chicago. I'm from the hood. I am like we said, we're the flowers that grew from concrete. And when you know that's where you come from and that's embedded in you, you don't know how to accept when someone says you're a little bougie, or you're a little uppity, or you've made it to this status and this is how they're looking at you. And
especially because each one of those things has a different connotation. Like, because I hear that stuff in my head too. I'm the child of two public school teachers, right? I remember brushing my teeth with baking soda when we couldn't afford toothpaste some months. Like, my dad rode his bike because we couldn't afford to put gas in the car, but it was still very different. Like, we were still living in that scratch it out, maybe almost middle class area. We were white, so we were not redlined out of these communities. And when we broke through into middle class, people did not remind us. Nobody knew that we hadn't always been there. And it, you know what I mean? Like, it was not a racial insult to call me uppity. Right? There's some fundamental things that you just said that I think are worth paying attention to. That even when we make it. Yeah. All right.
No, finish that statement.
No, I just, like, we're going, like, even when we make it. I think even when we make it, the differences are still so fucking stark. Right? Because when I'm white and I make it, I can forget that that's where I came from. In fact, I'm told that I should forget it. Right? And when I'm a person of color or somebody who's Black and I make it, I'm constantly reminded, you need to count yourself lucky. Right? There's a different story that I heard from you right there.
There is a different story.
Like, that's a very different experience.
And it's a great segue to talk about what do you guys, what's the second thing you guys do on this show?
The thing. Like, the things. Look at him watching the time, keeping me in line.
Boom. Last week now. So you want me to go? You want to go? You go.
So mine is actually jumps off of what I think where you're gonna go. So why don't you go first?
Oh, I'm going first. So because we're talking about gerontocracy today, my last now is the thing that popped out to me last week that is still resonating right now, which is why I'm loving the fact that we're going to have this conversation, is Donald Trump speaks at CPAC.
Yeah.
That having that conversation, watching him go to the Conservative Political Action Committee and have the conversation about running for president again. Oh, buddy, I'm not going to ease up when we talk about gerontocracy today. I'm going to drive the point home to the point that your listeners going to go, maybe we should focus on this. Because I talk about gerontocracy a little bit, just about it sneaks into every subject as of late. And I'm going to tell you what made it sneak into this subject. What drew me to this subject. I read a book first. I read Andrew Yang's book, The War on Normal People.
Oh yeah. Good.
And amazing. I love it. And I'm an Andrew Yang guy. So, and I love the book, but it drew me towards this conversation about gerontocracy because of the level of technology that is slowly but surely invading our world and what we have to do in order to shift with it. Yeah. And just watching some of the things that's happening in news today, like Donald Trump speaking at the CPAC, or heck, Joe Biden being elected. There's things that resonate with me, and I went and did my own level of research. Excuse me, guys. I'm sorry.
All good.
On my show, I get libations.
I knew I was missing something. Here I am with my Nalgene and water.
This on my show, I'd be telling you guys to make sure you have your libations, because the things that I'm going to say tonight might need a disclaimer.
Well, I mean, if we need one, I'll just drop an F-bomb and piss them off anyway. So let's go.
Look, I know this is not my show, but
the views and opinions expressed by TL are those solely of TL and no one else on the Frontline Stereo podcast.
I know this is not the Frontline Stereo podcast.
Wait. This
but
is
wait,
podcast,
it's
man.
still a podcast. So let's go. Let's do it all.
All right. But since this is our show today, I gotta know who did the voiceover for that for you.
Oh, you know who did my voiceovers.
Oh, come on, give her props.
It's my wife. Zinda does all my voiceovers, and I hope she's watching now, because the front line is invading Where's Your Heart, but we're still going to be vulnerable today. Don't you guys worry. We're going to be vulnerable. I swear we will.
There it is. And our topic today, folks, TL introduced it already, Gerontocracy, which for anybody else, just go look the damn thing up. I had to Google it. Basically, I went to TL a while back. It was a month ago now. I'm like, well, it's time to have TL on again. We haven't seen him in a while. And I'm like, what do you want to talk about? Because I know whatever TL says is going to be a fun conversation. And he's like, Gerontocracy. And I'm like, holy shit, I know it's got to do with age, but like, that's about it. All right. Probably system of government. No, it really is that. Wait, introduce it for us.
Gerontocracy is literally a regime or a system of government ruled by old people. There's no other way to say it. It's literally when you're being controlled and ruled by old people. So when I started to have this thought about gerontocracy, I was breaking down political regimes and governments, and I was thinking about our nation. I was reading this book, and I was like, everybody always gets on us when we say, they get on me every time I say we need a maximum age limit. They're like, no, you can't say maximum age limit, because that'll be discriminating against people who are senior citizen age, or age discrimination.
Yeah.
But then I thought to myself, that sounds like something that was put in place by a gerontocracy. Why is it put in place by a gerontocracy? Because they can set a minimum age. Discrimination?
I mean, what's the minimum age to be president?
Oh, is it 40? No, it's not 40. It is 40. It's
41. 40. It's one of those, like you have to be over 40 or something like that. But yeah, I don't remember the exact age.
Oh,
but yeah,
I get it. It is 35.
35. There it is.
You look, I have all this stuff in front of me, and I'm just waiting for my time to just jump in. You gave me the alley-oop, and I didn't dunk it that time. Trust me.
That's we ended up with it in the basket. That's all that matters.
We got the bucket.
We'll take the points.
So there's a minimum age set for things, and when you start to talk about maximum age, people like to say that's age discrimination. I think either way it'd be age discrimination, and if you want to just put the discrimination in the subject. But if you're going to set a minimum, because you have to be a certain age and you have to have a certain level of understanding and a certain level of experience to do certain things, I also believe after a maximum age that you have to have a certain level of understanding. You have to have a level of experience, and you have to know what's going on in the world. No?
Well, and there's the thing, is that it's that disconnection from the world. When we have to have a congressional hearing on Facebook, and people are speaking in terms that a fifth grader can just look at them and go, this guy doesn't know how Facebook works. Like, there's a problem, because you're talking about something with billions of billions. Is it billions or millions? Millions of users around the world. And so for people in our government to sit there and not understand what this thing is just wrong. And
that is so my tagline.
Tagline.
That's so my tagline. It's like we have people in government at a certain age who doesn't understand, who they have Facebook pages, YouTube pages. Yep. They're streaming things live on Facebook and YouTube, and yet they don't even know how to use them anymore. There's a disconnect there, people.
Yeah. All
If
right.
you're
So
too old to use these things, oh, there it is. There's the age. Let's see. My wife comes in and she's watching, and she says you have to be 35 years old and a United States citizen, a United States resident for at least 14 years. There it is.
there it is. From the voice of the voiceover.
There we go. We started. So, but that's the thing. So when as I start talking about gerontocracy, one of the things that I want to bring up is the fact that we do have a disconnect. You said it so well, Royce. We have a disconnect with the government and the nation today. It's shown in so many different ways. I don't care if you agree or disagree with Trump stumpers, as I like to call them. That's showing you a disconnect. I don't care if you agree or disagree with Black Lives Matter movement. That's showing a disconnect. And I like to take it. I know your one of your shows likes to talk about race a lot. I like to talk about race too. However, when I start looking into gerontocracy, I say we can take race out of it, because this is really a conversation about older generations versus younger generations at this point.
Yeah. And I mean, it's interesting now to reflect as a 46-year-old. Like we were talking about this before the show. We're Gen Xers. And I remember just every idea that I brought forward being squashed by people who were my age when I was in my early 20s. And it was when I was doing the overfunctioning, trying to like do anything. Oh God, I was working for the Republican Party back then. That was my job. Like I had to make a living, and I was going to do anything to, yeah. We got the eyebrows in on that one. But I remember like they were willing to take my labor and my overworking, and I was doing every job that no one else was willing to do. But my ideas, they were not welcome. Like
it's an old world. It's a
yep.
What's the song? Hey, young world. They're not listening to us. You got to listen to the kids. That's what I was back then.
Yeah. Yeah. Right there. Listen to the kids. When you brought this topic up, that was where my head went, because it like went a million directions, because the wiki that I read talked about village structures with elders or church structures with elders. Immediately also I imagined a lot of the ethnic households that are still connected to their roots in this country. Often, again, there's an elder status in the household or in the family. That's that's very much intact and has very real power. And the problems happen when that person doesn't know how to sit there and go, you need to be listening to the 17-year-old right now. She's the one with the wisdom. Like that's when the problems happen in those systems, is when the person with that age and that wisdom thinks that their seat of wisdom is the only seat that matters.
And here's going back to one of your other statements when you said there's a true disconnect. I want to just let's drive this disconnect home.
All right, go.
I asked you earlier what was the average age
of
an American.
Yep.
The average age of an American is 38.2. Men 36.9, women 39.5.
Yep.
Zenda has kindly placed up in the comments that you need to be the United States president. You have to be 35 years old to be the president. You have to be and to be a senator, a person must be age 30 or over. To be a representative, a person must be age 25 or older. I only have the stats for the 116th. I don't have the 117th yet. The 116th Congress, average age for members of the House and the Senate were respectively 58 and 63. 58 for the House, 63 for the Senate. The majority of the members in Congress, 53% of them are baby boomers. Even the members of the so-called silent generation, loosely defined as people born between 1928 and 1945.
That stuff's bullshit.
Say that again. 1928 and 1945. They outnumber millennials currently in this house. We're not even talking about Gen X. And here we go. Speaker Nancy Pelosi is 80 years old. Yep. The guy that used to be Majority Mitch, he's Minority Mitch now. He's 78 years old. Congressman Congresswoman Waters, Auntie Maxine, as she is affectionately known in the Black community, is 82 years old. Danny K. Davis, right out of Chicago, Illinois, 79 years old. Senate Finance Committee Chuck Grassley is 86 years old. 16 governors are over 65. Vice President Pence, older Vice President Pence, was 60 years old. Harris, current Vice President, the first lady Vice President ever, is 56 years old. That had nothing to do with the gerontocracy part. I just want to put that in there so she show her age. But Trump, he was 74 when he was president. He was 74 years old and the oldest president ever inaugurated in U.S. history. And then to beat him, we just elected Joe Biden, which is now the oldest person to ever be inaugurated as president. And as I stated in last week, now President Trump, ex-president, last President Trump, he's talking about coming back and running, which will again make him the oldest inaugurated president in the nation's history. I just want to drive that home because this is the fault of the gerontocracy regime and the young people. We have to figure out what the formula is so we can have the average age of this government represent the average age of its people, because there is in it.
And there's Zenda's question, like where are the 35 and what your candidate Yang, that was actually a favorite in our household too. But it was one of those things like actually he was not my choice simply because in the primaries, there were people I didn't like, but I was like, I just don't give a shit. Like, I ain't gonna fall in love until this mess is over, because
they weed out the people who see. But this is why I say it's our fault when I'm talking about the Nexters, because we're supposed to be the party. Whether you're a Democrat or you're a Republican, you're supposed to be the party, and you're supposed to say this is who we want as the candidate. And I know for a fact I know I was an Andrew Yang. I was a Yang. I was part of the Yang gang.
Yeah.
And it wasn't just because I was going to get $1,000 a month, but I was a part of the Yang gang. And it was times where he qualified to be on the stage and have the debates that they didn't allow him on the stage to have the debates.
And that right there is this is a rigged game.
It's rigged by the old people. I'm telling you, it's rigged by the old people. And when they started to wither down the groups, let's just take example when we had the primaries on the Democratic side. Yang and Buttigieg, very young, very progressive, has a connection, understands, they speak very well, very smart. And people go, oh, that person's not going to make it. It's always an older person. That person's not going to make it because I don't see America electing an Asian president. Or Buttigieg is not going to make it. I don't see America is ready to elect someone who's openly gay. Quite frankly, I don't see America ready to the way I look at it, I don't see them ready to turn it over to the young people yet, because every older person in my family or every elder that I've had has always told me one thing: if you want my spot, you have to come take my spot. And that's just not the mindset I come from. I mean, that's what they've given me, but that's not what I come from, Royce.
All right. So I'm going to offer an unpopular critique of John Lewis.
Be careful.
I know, because and I mean, he's near and dear to my heart. So like, this is not to shit on anything. My one issue with a lot of our reps who came in as revolutionaries is they forgot to step down. They forgot to train their replacement. It's the most important thing I've learned in leadership over 40 years of fucking it up, is always know who your replacement is and always be training them. It's the most responsible. Every startup I've done, I did it right once. I'll tell you right now, I did it right once. I had and I'd been mentoring the guy for like a year. So when I stepped out, he interviewed for the job. He was easily the top pick. Why? Because he'd already had practice at it. Everyone already knew he could do it. And he stepped in and things were off and running. It was the one time when one of my startups didn't implode when I left it. And it's just a totally different feeling to walk away and know that you passed the torch. Yeah. And that's something I think we got to look at. Now, at the same time, what you just said, you're absolutely right, which is why I bit the bullet. The person that I want to run for Congress here in New Mexico, somebody from her campaign said, "Hey, we need you to step up and jump into the Democratic committee and get elected at the grassroots." And I was like, "Oh shit, no, no." And another, well, and the other part of me was like, the last thing we need is more fucking white boys in this thing, right? Especially like I'm almost the old white guy.
You're not the old white guy. Did you hear those numbers?
I know. I'm almost the old white guy.
You're
like,
representing the nation.
Okay, all right, but the other thing is, I'm in a white ass neighborhood, so I was like, all right, fine, I'll do it. So I'm the ward chair now for my little ward here in Albuquerque, New Mexico. But that's so I mean that's a direct result of that. Because we have somebody who is that younger generation. She's a BLM organizer. I can't wait to see what she would do in Congress. But that's the kind of voices that we need in Congress right now. I think that's one of the points you're making there. That disconnect.
The disconnect is so real.
It's huge.
It's huge. I mean, like when I was this book that I was reading the war on normal people.
Yeah.
And Andrew Yang consistently throughout the stats of in his book on things, jobs that are being replaced.
Yeah.
And one of the biggest ones, if I offend someone, I'm sorry. I'm just giving you the numbers. I'm not looking to offend you or make you nervous or concerned, but you should be just a tidbit concerned. One of the things that stuck out to me so immensely was his conversation about trucking jobs. He says, if you have a job that drives in the next 5 years, you're more than likely going to be out of work. And the reason why you're going to be out of work is because there are tech companies in California right now that have figured out and trying to figure out how to automate the ability to drive a car on its own, how to drive a truck on its own. Currently, and this book was written in 2017, I think. So as I'm reading it in 2020, 2021, I think it was, 2020. I read this book in 2020. As I'm reading it, I'm knowing right now that Elon Musk and Tesla has created a semi truck that is autonomously driven from California to Arizona, back and forth on a route, all on its own.
Yep.
So any independent trucker, any trucker working for someone, those jobs are going to be cut by a mass amount of number, and they're going to have a reason to do so. The reason they're going to have to do so is because you don't have to worry about truckers falling asleep. You don't have to worry about them. You don't have to worry about high overhead. Instead of having a trucker haul one truck and him hauling back and forth, you can take a bunch of Tesla trucks and you can line them up and use one guy to control 6 or 7 fleets of trucks because they autonomously drive and follow each other. Heck, if we're moving into that direction in our world today, where trucks can go from state to state and deliver goods with one person at the helm, and we have congressmen. I mean, it's kind of like, you remember the guy? You remember the guy who used to do the bootleg DVDs?
You
remember, like in your community? In my community, I know from time to time when we want to watch an extra movie and we didn't want to pay for it and go see it in the theaters, we'd get the bootleg.
Yep.
And it's like us talking about how we want to, hey man, you know where I can find a bootleg guy to get the DVD, and people going, why are you looking for the bootleg guy? We have jailbroken Fire Sticks that you can watch the movie off of. Just stream it. I'll give you the password to my account. It's that level of disconnect. Our Congress people, our government and our congressmen and women and our senators are in Congress, and they're talking about the DVD guy.
Oh, they're talking about VHS guy. I wouldn't even give them DVD.
You said the VHS guy.
Like, they're talking about the VHS guy, and when they listen to records, it's not because they think that it's somehow a higher quality. It's just because they never fucking got rid of their record player.
Hey, oh my gosh!
Like,
I love being with Royce because he just lets it go. But that's what we're talking about. That's the level of disconnect that we're talking about. And when you say this regime of old people, like you said, they didn't train their replacement. Who's the replacement? The reason why I don't even look at it as a black and white thing anymore is because at one point in time we had like 60 or so people in from the 60s to the 90s. We went from under 200 black government officials to 8,000 black government officials. So this is not a race thing. Even they're older and they don't want to step down. And you mentioned one of them. Yes, I love John Lewis because of things that he did for my fraternity. But he's a guy that didn't pass the torch. Maxine Waters is someone who's not passing the torch. Bobby Rush, the guy that was just you talked about Judas and the Black Messiah. Bobby Rush, for 10, 20, however X amount of years, you didn't hear him talk about Fred Hampton. And the movie comes out, and now all of a sudden he's talking about Fred Hampton. He's like 80-something years old, and he's not passing the torch.
I mean, for me, it's actually the biggest thing about BLM that I know you and I have a difference of opinion on BLM.
We do.
But, and one of the coolest things about it is that it is very much a very young movement. And it's a young movement that has matured, that has figured out where to gather the wisdom. I think that's one of the reasons that it is so particular about being inclusive on so many different levels, because it's learned from all the flash in the pan movements that have tried to replicate the civil rights movements of the 60s and 70s. It has learned that its staying power is going to be because it is joined with all of these other groups. It has a leg that the LGBTQ community is saying, yeah, we have to be supportive of BLM. It has the support of women's groups. It has the support of workers' rights groups. Well,
of course it has those supports because that's the movement. It's no longer a movement for Black lives. It's a movement for LGBTQ lives.
It's a movement for all Black lives, which is it was the point that was driven home to me. It
went from his story. It's not it. We
don't have to, but the point is, it's a young movement.
It is a young movement,
which in and of itself is, and it's not I think this is the interesting part. It's very interesting. I don't know about you, but when I was young, I got to the point where I was just like, well, fuck everything that old people say. Like, if you're my parents' age or older, fuck you. I'm going to do the opposite just to piss you off. Cause like, even though I'm in my 20s, I'm not in my teens anymore. I just don't give a shit because you people don't even remember. You've completely lost.
You don't remember what you're going to say next.
Well, yeah, well, that too. But like, I got to the point where I was like, I don't care what your wisdom is because you don't give a shit about mine. And there's something different about the BLM movement because they obviously care very deeply about movements that have come before. They have done their work. They have researched the hell out of this stuff. They have talked to to their forebears. They know whose shoulders they are standing on, and they're doing the work from that position. That, to me, that's the neatest part about it, is that it's a young movement that has not forgotten that it is deeply connected to that which has gone before.
Well, as soon as we figure out where their $90 million are and what communities they're helping, then I'll let you go with that. But they have $0 committed to Black communities. I just want to say that.
Well, and
where their 90 million is,
and to definitely reinforce that, watching Judas and the Black Messiah. If you haven't seen it, please do, especially if you're white. Go watch this movie. But the emphasis on social programs, and there's my question that comes back, is what social programs is BLM spending their money on? Like, how are they feeding kids? Because this is what it always comes down to, isn't it? Where are we feeding the kids who were underserved by a social program that's been decimated by bullshit republicanism for the last 40 years? Are they educating kids? Because again, we've got an education system that has been dumbed down to the lowest common denominator, because the Republicans figured out in the 70s that if they took over the Texas school board, they had control of all of the nation's textbooks, because all the textbook sellers bow to the state with the highest number of schools, and that's Texas. Not the most population, just the number of schools. So anyway, I could go right down the list, but all of those things are happening. And now I've forgotten what I was going to say. There was a point there.
There was. Look, I know I heard you when you said the social programs. Always, I say, because I've always stated especially when if you bring back up Fred Hampton, his social program have free breakfast in the morning. That movements have started, revolutions have started from the nation of hungry people. So,
and that's what we are right now.
Yeah, we're very hungry. And that's what I said. We're hungry and we're disconnected. And when you have a nation that's disconnected from their government, and their government truly doesn't understand. That's what I said. I'm watching Trump talking about running for president again at 84 or 80, whatever he'll be. Yeah. And trying to spend 4 years. The running joke right now for Joe Biden is Kamala Harris is going to be the president after 9 o'clock because it's past his bedtime. That's the running joke right now. We and most people in the community would flat out tell you that we don't think he's going to make it to 4. We don't know if he's going to make it 4 years. This is the lame duck. I've never ever had a situation where I've been alive to experience a lame duck president, but that's essentially what Joe Biden is. He's a lame duck president. And I don't know, when we were talking about the primaries, how is it that we have the two people who were dead last in the polls end up being the people who win president and vice president? I mean, Kamala Harris was one of the very first people to drop out because she didn't raise any funds, or she just couldn't get anybody to like her. And here it is, she's vice president.
And let's actually ask that question, because it points to a system of the parties. And here I would look at the Democratic Party that is now, I won't say it's as bad as the Republican Party right now, because the Republicans have gone off the Nazi jump as far as I'm concerned.
See, this is weird.
Dangerous as hell.
And this is where people are surprised when I say like this. I don't support one party over the other. I'm an independent, and I believe in capitalism at this point. I believe social programs are required and needed in certain communities, and some people need to be treated differently in order to advance and look for equality. However, I believe.
So really, it's not capitalism then. It's a healthy mixed economy.
It is a healthy mixed economy. That's fair. Because like I said, I'm independent. I believe this Democrat Republican things are two wings of the same bird, two heads of the same snake, whatever you want to call it.
And that right there is how these two got elected. Because even though within the party, they were not necessarily the favorites or whatever, but they won because they could actually win the end game of all of these people who were not connected to either party. And when we've got that going on constantly, where we've got two parties, and it's a two-party system because winner takes all, because we have no way of measuring anything other than that, there's all the rest of us are caught in the middle.
But it's not a two-party system.
It is.
You can create a party today.
And it will be worthless, just like the Green Party, just like the Libertarian Party. I was Libertarian for a long time, man.
Just imagine if the Tea Party said that. At one point, they became very relevant. It's not a two-party system if we stop allowing them to let it be a two-party system.
But look at the history on it. Because of winner takes all, the second you end up with winner takes all as and that's constitutional, right? That's in the Constitution. Once you have winner takes all, then you're always only going to have two sluggers at the end, which is why what has happened throughout our history as a nation is a third party will pop up and they will get adopted by one of the two parties. And that's what happened with the Tea Party. What's sick about the Tea Party is they began as kind of supposedly under libertarian stuff, but they end up with all this Christian nation bullshit that was part of the Republicans. They end up with this like unholy fascist bullshit thing going on where
it went awry.
Yeah, I was just like, I don't know, like I'm ashamed to say I was ever libertarian, because we were all about, no, marry if you want to, like, you want to be gay and get married, who gives a shit? Like, the social stuff was supposed to be off the table with the Libertarian Party, but that whole thing got co-opted. But that's what happens. That's the power of winner takes all.
Well, I hear you. Winner takes all. Yeah. Again,
It is.
Okay, so we'll go with the winner takes all theory, and we'll say two wings of the same bird. I don't care
Very
who
true.
you. Right. It's the same. It's two wings of the same bird. And quite frankly, getting back to gerontocracy, if we buy into these two wings of the same bird, and you're okay with saying, I'm just going to support my party. If you're out there and you're saying, I'm going to support the Democratic Party because that's what I do. That's what aligns with my values. Or I'm going to support the Republican Party because that's what I do. That's where my values align. Good, fine, and dandy. But I'll say this when it comes to gerontocracy. The Republicans are going to beat the Democrats into becoming a younger party.
Oh, you think so?
Oh, I know. So look at it. Look at it now.
You think
there are so many There are so many new young Republicans, and I've watched the young Republicans of Florida.
Yeah.
People are surprised that. So you got to do research on both sides when you're an independent, and you don't just get to ignore one group. You look at both groups,
dude. When they're going to use Nazi symbols in their conferences, I ain't going to look at that one party. they're illegitimate, man.
I hear you. But you got to do the research on everything to find out, because those people with Nazi symbols in their meeting could be running the country, and you got to know how to maneuver that too. I guess that's the life of a black person. We just learn how to maneuver whoever runs it, because you know the way I view things. If you're watching the Frontline Stereo podcast, you're going to hear me loud and clear. I believe that both of them do terrible.
Well, and that's actually my issue with the Democratic Party, is that it is a party of gerontocracy. Like, it's absolutely here in New Mexico. So there's this interesting bit about New Mexico. Our state legislature is not paid. Okay. They have two legislative sessions, January and July, I believe. July or August, I can't remember. Anyway, I think it's January and July. Two legislative sessions. They're not paid. And so at first you're like, oh, good, a government, where these people they're not politicians. They're not owned by the government or by the system. This should be really good, right? You know what ends up happening? Nobody can afford to run except for retired people or rich. Well, it ends up being rich housewives is the joke.
You said housewives.
Like, that's literally when you look at our state legislature. So it's crazy. Now, I'm thankful to know one of them personally, who is she's a retired minister, and an amazing human. And I'm deeply grateful she's doing that work. But already I'm like, and why is she having to do that fucking work? She's retired, for Christ's sake.
And we want you to stay retired. All these young people that are stepping up and marching and going places and saying how much they go to the government. Go to the government. I don't care which side you're on. You can be you can be on the side that stormed the Capitol. We get it. There's a disconnect. There's something you don't like about it, and you were pissed. Instead of going to the Capitol that way, how about you put together a campaign and go to the Capitol that way, so people won't have to arrest you and you go to jail for being a terrorist. Instead of being a terrorist, try being a government official. It'd be more fruitful for you. And that's what we
just leave your fucking Confederate flags out of it. God damn it. That's the
no, those aren't coming back. If we see them, we're getting rid of them. But just going to speaking of more disconnect, like you said, you have some trust fund babies and some rich white people, but it does speak to the two-party system on how we can have the two last place candidates from the Democratic Party end up being the president and the vice president. But to speak to the gerontocracy of the disconnect with our people, I remember a time when Joe Biden was running in the primaries and he needed the South. And to get the South, he went to Whip Clyburn. Whip Clyburn did what he does. He's a whip. Old man Clyburn bought it home for Joe Biden, and the South voted for Joe Biden. He won the primaries, and as you see, we now have a sitting president in Joe Biden. You ever go to the bar and get a little tipsy, and you find yourself not able to take yourself home?
No, never.
This was Joe Biden. He couldn't take himself home. He didn't know how to get there. He was drunk off of whatever he was drinking on, and he went out in the streets and almost got hit by a car. And Jim Clyburn said, "Oh, come back here. I saved your life." He put him in the car and he drove him home. Got sitting President Joe Biden now. After saving his life and taking him home, Clyburn asked for us to change the national anthem song. Do you think that is what we want? We want a national anthem. We want to sing differently. We want a different song to sing. No, that speaks to the disconnect. If we had someone who was in their right mind, he would ask for some policy changes, some policies specifically geared towards the community which went out and voted for Joseph R. Biden. Like some of these executive orders that have come out that are geared specifically towards specific communities, we would have seen one geared towards a specific community that came out to vote for Joseph R. Biden. But he asked for a song.
And I will say, I'm not a fan of Biden. He was literally last on my list of the Democrats.
He was last in the polls too.
This was a hold the nose and vote on that front. I'm excited by all the groundbreaking that Kamala Harris is doing. I'm really excited about that. But one thing I will say I admire about what he's done is the pure number of executive actions has been astounding. And it's aimed at really interesting things. The Office of Budget Management, for example, has rules about how they evaluate government bids, how they calculate the cost. And that's what he went after, because these rules have been in place since Reagan. And they've meant that we've actually had a very conservative government, even after Reagan was long gone, because
one of those policies
changed the policies. And again, I got props to Ibram X. Kendi for forcing me to say it's all about the policy, not structural.
Policies last
policy.
After people leave.
Because we
only got Biden for 4 years. Just like you said, we're still looking at a policy coming from the Reagan era.
And it's one of those that always gets overlooked. Why did he? Now, here's the interesting thing. And here I'm going to hurt my own arguments against gerontocracy a little. He knew about this policy because he was vice president, because it's the same policy that fucked with a lot of Obama's stuff. Like, it's part of why his policies got so wrecked before they even got to Congress. So he knew about this being the problem. But for some reason, I don't know why, either Obama didn't. I'm guessing by the time he understood that was the problem, he had lost the House and Senate. And so everything was fuckered anyway.
Poof.
Yeah. So I don't know, but that's the story in my head. But that's like, he went after things like that. How did he know that was the problem? Because he's been in government for 50 years. And so there's part of me that says, how,
and I've been alive.
Yeah. Amen. So here's the question, because we spent a lot of time saying no to advanced age being in these things. And yet I also, I don't want to lose that wisdom, because he did something with a stroke of his pen there that could last beyond you and I.
Very much so.
And yeah, should there be more? Can he do more? Fucking student debt. Who is affected by student debt disproportionately? Just like they're affected by everything disproportionately. People of color, women. There's a million little.
Let's just say young people.
Yeah. Oh, and young people. Yeah, because this gap between tuition and the benefits of a finished bachelor's degree, for example, has grown and grown and grown.
Big time. $100,000 in debt, 1 degree, and no job.
And I remember in the 80s being told, if you get a bachelor's degree, you will earn $1 million more over your lifetime. Do you remember that line?
I do remember that line.
Right? Okay. It's the exact same $1 million today, but $1 million today is not what it was in the 80s. Number one.
80s.
And number two, college costs very more, way more. And that's the kind of shit that people don't talk about. I had a conversation with my parents, and I actually wrote this down. they started talking about what stuff cost. Oh God, where did they put it? Oh, there it is. Okay. What stuff costs when they bought the house that they brought me home to after I was born in a hospital? That house cost $9,000.
Oh, wow.
Their monthly payment on it was $99 a month. Okay. My dad's job at the local high school as a band director, right, was $6,000 a year. And so that meant $494 a month was what their take home was. So let's do the math on that. So the people running the show right now, this is their world, remember, right?
Their world.
Their world is my house payment is, what is that? 20%, 23% of my take home pay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't know about you, but that was not the world I was living in until just recently.
No, not at all. I mean,
Right.
like that number, the purchase price and the mortgage price is so telling when you say those numbers. It's a $6,000 house, and I don't know anything that I pay. My subscriptions to Netflix might equal out to $99 when you add them all up.
And check the ratios again. If the annual salary was $6,000 and the house was $9,000 total, that means that the house was only 150% of their annual salary. Again, these are the people running Congress. This is what my parents did at age 22.
Wow.
Okay. At 22, my apartment was $600 a month. Right. And it was, God, I'm trying to remember what I made at 22. I think it was around 20. Right. But I wasn't buying my own house because I couldn't afford it.
Right. Say no house was affordable.
Right. My take home pay it covered rent and like a car payment.
And that's it.
And that was it.
You had to go eat at your parents' house because they had the $99 mortgage that was completed.
So that's when we talk about the disconnects. This is the fundamental problem of a system that has become unbalanced with its gerontocracy, I think. Like, and again, I think it's balance is one of the things that I want to. Oh shit! I was supposed to switch the thing because we got to wrap up.
I'm not controlling the board. I'm just here support.
But that's the disconnect, is that when you have total unbalance occurring in these systems, it becomes really problematic. Do I want to miss out on the wisdom of somebody who knew to go after the budget office rules? No, I want his wisdom. But I don't want, as you pointed out, our average age in these governing bodies to be 56 plus. I don't want it.
Or 20 to 30 years away from the representation of the nation.
Yes, that's, I think, a better gap to point out. So there's a problem. All right, how are we going out today?
More, better, different. Come on, we want to do more, better, different. So
yeah,
what do we need more of? I think we need more of these conversations. If we get, there's a comment.
Kelly, but if we all just stopped eating avocado toast,
everything wouldn't be so. I think we need to have more of these conversations. We absolutely need to continue this conversation, continue to talk, because it really is in everything. When you look at, like you said, we didn't even touch on the church structure or home structure.
Yep.
Everything is driven by this whole gerontocracy or what's the seniority rule.
Yeah.
And better, what do we need that's better? I think we need a better understanding of where we're going so we can relay these messages to the people that are in charge. And what we need to do differently is we need to stop cancel culture, because an age max is no different than an age minimum. And we need to stop saying that's age discrimination because it fits your narrative. I'd like to say also being different is we have to know that we're moving into a different era. Things are going to be very, very, very different when it comes to how we put food on our plates. and how we save money and how we go about doing retirement. Like you said, Royce, we're not at a $6,000 salary with a $9,000 house and a $99 payment anymore. So we have to think differently and know where we're going and what's going to be different about the new world that we're in. That's my wrap up.
So I'm going to riff off of you a little bit because like, I think Kelly's point points back to your point about even the folks that stormed the Capitol. And it's, so this is a little convoluted, so roll with me on this. But if there's when I read about the fear of coal country, like the folks in Wyoming and Montana, who they're afraid that their entire town's going to go under when the coal mine shuts down, right? And you could do that with trucking, as you did. We could do that with coal for green energy. We can do that with, like, run the list, folks. Run the list. Steel, making cars, like, run the list. Every time we see one of these things, we are looking at that disconnect that TL's talked about. You know, you've talked about this whole show, because what no one looks at it and imagines is, so what happens if we take it seriously that this town is totally and utterly reliant on that coal mine, and these are our brothers and sisters. These are people we are responsible to and for as fellow citizens in this nation. All right. And what happens if we take that approach? It isn't that we'll keep the coal mine going, but we will find a way to support those folks. We will find a way to say, that's why they're at the top of the list for a solar plant. And we're going to train them all how to run this solar plant. Or whatever. There's a million ways to do it. We did it during the fucking Great Depression. We know it can be done. How do you think the Hoover Dam came about? It wasn't people who were professional cement workers who were slinging that stuff. It was people like TL and me who were like, fuck, I'll go anywhere and get any goddamn job because I got to feed myself.
Put food on the table.
Right? So that's the level of challenge here. And it speaks to, I think, the disconnect that Kelly's pointing out here, that those of us who are not boomers have dealt with taxation without representation. Right. TL, you and I are part of the generation that is the first generation in the history of this fucking country that will have it worse off than our parents did. Yes. And if that does not scare the shit out of people, because that means that the lie of the endless growth economy is going to be broken in our lifetime, and we're going to experience it. So I say we got to change stuff. Let's just bite the bullet and change it now. All right. And what's Kelly have to say? My entire industry, live entertainment, went under nationwide when the pandemic hit, still hasn't recovered. I have new sympathy for coal miners. Absolutely. Like, what would happen if we actually started looking at real solutions? Not we can't get rid of coal. No, we're going to get rid of coal. We'll phase it out over X period of time, right? But how do we do this well? And entertainment.
And to Kelly's point, we're talking about coal. They got black lung. We shouldn't be talking about coal anymore. We got to talk about how to get these other people working. Figure out what other skill sets that are needed so she can get back to work. Live entertainment went away. So what's the replacement? We shouldn't be talking about coal anymore, people. You got black lung. Everybody died from black lung. No more coal.
All I got to say is, Teresa and Torian, I love the fact that I get to have TL on here because I'm not the one who does all the rants now.
And we get down. Yay!
Oh, I love it. All righty. And Teresa, who's apparently still watching the show. Thank you, Teresa, for setting everything up.
You're supposed to be like, look, you're not supposed to watch this. Teresa, you're not supposed to watch the show. You're supposed to be in here. If you're going to watch it, you got to come and join us.
Here's the thing, though. Like, she set everything up, folks. Like, I've never run this stuff before. She made it so easy and talked me through it all and showed me everything so that this was, we were able to do this today.
Sometimes it's difficult. Isn't it difficult?
I'm deeply grateful for her walking me through it and let me push all the buttons on Tuesday.
There you go, Teresa. That's for Teresa.
It's true. All righty. So thank you all for tuning in tonight. You got a last word?
Other than if you haven't seen my show yet, I would encourage you to go watch the Frontline Stereo podcast. I come on Thursdays at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I talk about everything. I am a culture podcast, but I always have something interesting because I have a different point of view on everything. I listen to kids. So watch the Frontline Stereo podcast, streaming live everywhere, streaming live on Facebook. And if you're an audiophile person and you just want to hear the audio, I'm on all streaming services, Google, Apple, Spotify, we're everywhere. So go check me out.
And I just want to endorse that as well. TL started his podcast. I guess it was like a month before we started Where's Your Heart, if I remember correctly.
Not too much in front of you guys.
And so he's been a listener and a watcher of our show and a fan of our show, and we've been fans of his show. Torian's been on his show a bunch. So please do check it out. I'll say two things. Number one, if you're a listener of this show and you like this show, you're going to have a good experience listening to the Frontline Stereo podcast. Now, I will also say this. You will probably also be a little more challenged if you are comfortably left of center on some things that you should probably be challenged on. So again, go listen to it. Check it out. It's a great conversation and a good time. You always have interesting guests. I think that's been a hoot.
I try.
So, thank you all. We're going to sign off for the night. I'm going to push the correct button here. Okay, there we go. Love you all. See you next week.
Have a good one, guys.
Good night.